For all very young viewers, guess what this is? A VHS tape. It's something before Netflix and stuff existed. And guess what's in the video cassette? One of our most famous characters, HeMan, #1. The animated series, the Filmation cartoon from the 1980s. This is a German audio tape or videotape, and unbelievable, it was restricted 12 years and above. What is amazing, or was amazing about those videotapes when I was young, was the box artwork. Have a look at it. It looks amazing. It's not actually taken from the animated cartoon itself, but was rather drawn, I think, from some other artist. And when you were buying those VHS tapes, you were about to get 3 episodes. And I remember back in the 80s, this was about 30 Deutschmark. That was about 15 euro or $15. Today's currency and back then, so you can see this was rather more expensive. And the date was 1983. From the cartoon, and the cassette itself was released in 1985. Actually, there's a favorite episode of mine on that, the Diamond Ray of Disappearance, der Diamant mit den magischen Strahlen. This is another cassette which was released later, and you can see actually takes material from the cartoon itself, the famous transformation scene, and again you had, on this one, it was actually only 1 episode, Invasion of the Dragons, so there wasn't really much to say. There wasn't even a text about that. It was just 1 cassette with 1 episode. Hard to imagine. And last but not least, when it comes to HeMan, the live action movie, which was released in 1987, and actually was so fortunate to grab a copy of it, and it actually is a hologram version of the movie. It's hard to see in that on the movie, but if you twist it, it's like those animation holograms, which consists of a special layer. You can see it from the side how it's glued on a regular video cassette, and once you turn it, the image would flip. And this, instead of flipping, it just is rather more of a 3-dimensional effect. And it says, Dolph Lundgren, wenn Skeletor siegt, ist alles verloren. If Skeletor wins, everything else is lost. HeMan und seine Freunde gegen die Übermacht der schwarzen Magie. HeMan and his friends against the superpowers of the black magic. And it has that 3-dimensional logo we all know and love. And says, this is the final fantasy adventure in German, das endgültige Fantasy Abenteuer. On the back you can see footage from the movie. Skeletor played in HeMan. Just loved that movie. Was actually fortunate to buy the thing when a video store actually went bankrupt. They sold it. It wasn't cheap, so it was already like in a collector's thing, but it's hard to get nowadays. The movie actually is still working, so yeah. This isn't the price I paid. It was more. But well, it's a great movie. So, videotapes, that was 80s. It was fun. Watched those over and over when I was a kid, as I'm sure many of you did. So, let me know in the comments below which tapes and how they were released, maybe how they looked, were released in your country. I'm curious to know. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.